right now.
Welcome back to the GSMC Hockey Podcast, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Garrison McDaniel, and we're here with our third segment of the night, talking about Gavin McKenna playing in the U18 tournament, which has led him to not be at the summer showcase for the World Juniors Classic. Gavin McKenna is I gotta make sure I get his age right. He is a now 16-year-old absolute phenom from Western Canada, plays in the WHL, Western Hockey League. He does play for the Medicine Hat Tigers. He was teammates with former 4th overall pick Caden Lindstrom in this most recent draft. And Gavin McKenna is an absolute wonderkin. He is, we talk about like Connor Bedard and Connor McDavid, how fantastic of prospects they were coming out. Gavin McKenna might not be at that same level, but he sure is very, very, very close to it. This guy is electric whenever he touches the ice. But he is not at the summer showcase for the Canadian World Juniors. A list of 42 Canadian forwards made it, 42 Canadian forwards made it, and we will be talking about that. But what kind of sparked my interest in this was a tweet from Cam Robinson, who is a writer for Elite Prospects. Somebody that I follow closely. He is the content director for the Elite Prospects. He tweeted, wondering why Gavin McKenna isn't a part of Canada's World Junior Summer Showcase. It's because he'll be skating with Canada's U18 club for the Hlinka Gretzky Cup. Speaking with someone close to the situation, McKenna is on track to have an excellent chance to be on the World Junior team in Ottawa. So what is the World Juniors? World Juniors is a tournament that is played of the U20 players around the world. The best prospects coming up to the NHL showcasing their skills. It is full of kind of guys that already are on NHL clubs. And that's a little bit of the problem with it, is that it's U20, so a lot of guys that play already in the systems of NHL teams are getting picked here. Every single player that is a forward, or almost every single player that's a forward, is almost everybody here is is a prospect for an NHL team. Besides 3, I think, are draft eligible, and they're draft eligible for the 2025 season. 4 are draft eligible for the 2025 season. My mistake. 4 players in Canada's showcase roster are eligible for the 2025 draft. The rest of that 42 player roster is draft prospects already. Gavin McKenna is a 2026 pick. He doesn't come up in draft talks for another 2 years. This is like a true freshman in college football becoming one of the best in America football players, or like best college football players in America, right? Real true stuff that you don't see really often. This guy is absolutely electric whenever he touches the ice. This past season in Medicine Hat, he had 115 points over the past 2 seasons in Medicine Hat, which comes up to being 77 games played. 152 points in 77 games played. He played for the Canadian U18 teams in the World Junior Classic U18 tournament last season. He had 20 points in 7 games. Connor Bedard did the same thing, played in the U18 tournament when he was 15, turning 16 as well. He had 14 points in 7 games. Gavin McKenna beat him out by 6 points. At the same age. That's extremely, extremely, extremely impressive. Connor Bedard went on the next season to play both for the U18 team in the World Junior Classic and the U20 team in the World Junior Classic, getting 15 points in 11 games in those tournaments. And then it was the following season in his draft year. So right, following the timeline similarly, that season that I just talked about with Connor Bedard is the season that is coming up for Gavin McKenna. His draft minus 1 year, which was 21-22 for Bedard, and now his draft year for Connor Bedard absolutely lit up the World Juniors U20 Classic, up 23 points in 7 games for Team Canada en route to a gold medal in those games. And then he went on and had one of the best seasons we've seen from a rookie in a very long time, 61 points in 68 games. This is the trajectory we're seeing Gavin McKenna on. And we're seeing it in real time. He's playing in the same tournaments, right? He played in the WHL just like he plays in the WHL just like Connor Bedard did with the Regina Pats. Gavin McKenna for the Medicine Hat Tigers, 97 points in 61 games. In Connor Bedard's draft minus 2 year, he had 100 points in 62 games. So very, very, very comparable are these two players. 97, 100, and Gavin McKenna had one less game played, and in the playoffs it's 6 points in 5 games for Medicine Hat for Gavin McKenna this season, and for Connor Bedard, his Regina Pats did not even make the playoffs. Gavin McKenna is a true wonderkin, and I'm very excited to see him. The players that are on this roster are guys like Berkeley Cannon, who just got drafted, Cole Bedoin just got drafted, Ethan Gauthier just got drafted by the Lightning, Tija Ginla, Caden Lindstrom, Jet Lushenko, Luke Pinelli, Carson Reckhoff, Callum Ritchie, Beckett Seneca, Matthew Wood, Braden Yeager. Almost all those guys are first rounders, and on the defense, it's pretty similar. Kari Yakimchuk, first rounder, Zane Parekh, first rounder, Sam Dickinson, first rounder, Oliver Bonk, first rounder, Noah Chadwick, first rounder. Like, a lot of these guys are first rounders that are playing on this Canadian World Junior Classic team. And Gavin McKenna is 2 years away, and it's said that he has a good chance at making the team. Like, this is we're truly watching some generational prospect. Look, the NHL has had a lot of generational prospects, and we're kind of throwing that term out pretty loosely nowadays. But really, when we're looking at Gavin McKenna, and if you disagree with me that Connor Bedard is a generational prospect, I think you need to check the tape again. He is fantastic. Gavin McKenna is on the same trajectory. We talked about the numbers; they look very similar, playing in the same tournaments at the same ages. And I mean, truly, Gavin McKenna has outperformed him. He's still 2 years away from being draft eligible, and this player looks fantastic, and he looks competitive against guys 2-3 years older than him. In the WHL, it's a lot of 18 and 19-year-olds, right? He's playing, 97 points in 61 games played, 1.5 points per game in just unreal stuff. Now, the following season for Connor Bedard, he went on and put up 143. I'm sorry, I have my timeline a little bit mixed up. Gavin McKenna is a year behind where Connor Bedard was, which means he's like a year ahead, right? Connor Bedard did that stuff in his draft minus 1 year, the 100 points in the WHL, the U18 7 points, the U20 8 points. That was all in his draft minus 1 season, which is what Gavin McKenna is coming into. Gavin McKenna put up comparable numbers to Connor Bedard in his draft minus 2 season, a whole year younger. And when you're 15 and 16 years old, yes, that makes the world of difference. This kid is going to be something extremely, extremely special coming up, as a prospect. So he is going to be... we talked about his U18 World Championship with Team Canada. Just looking at other guys that were on this team, Tija Ginla, Ryder Ritchie, Jet Lushenko, Henry Muse, Cole Bedoin, Liam Greentree, Charlie Elick, like these guys, Roger McQueen, these guys that are just first-round picks this past season. He was on this team. He led this team in points. He led this team in goals. He had 10 goals, 10 assists, 20 points in 7 games played. Gavin McKenna is absolutely electric. And in the Helsinki Gretzky Cup for Team Canada last year, it had pretty much the same roster as that U18 team that I just listed. So that is where Gavin McKenna is at. He's going to be playing with guys like Roger McQueen. Roger McQueen, Michael Misa is going to be on that team probably, but the supporting cast is going to be looking a lot differently from this past Wayne Gretzky Cup team for Team Canada, and I'm very excited to watch it. I'm very excited to see what this young guy can do because he is fantastic. He's electric. Some fun hockey watching. He is different from Connor Bedard in the way that he is very much a playmaker. He had 63 points in 63 assists in 61 games played, whereas Connor Bedard in his draft -1 year had 49 assists in 62 games played, had 51 goals in 62. Gavin McKenna, 34 goals in 61. So where Gavin McKenna is missing a little bit more of that scoring ability, the guy projects as a 70, 80 assist guy at the NHL level. And that's something very exciting to watch for. And he's just a true center. He's 16 years old, so he's going to grow even more, but he's already 6 feet tall. He's 165, so can fill out that frame. He has 2 more years until he's draft eligible. So going to fill out that frame a lot more, can definitely grow some more. And a very exciting prospect to watch out for. So that'll wrap it up for our third segment of the night, talking about Gavin McKenna playing in the U18 tournament instead of being at the Summer Showcase for Team Canada. When I come back from my break, we'll be talking about the top 10 centers in the NHL, and it is a subjective list. I'll just leave that disclaimer before we get into our break here.